Hello everyone, welcome back to our course of business statistics. In the previous classes, we discussed about arithmetic mean, and now we will move towards some alternate form of means. And as we know, we cannot measure everything with the mean, arithmetic mean, because if I try to apply arithmetic means everywhere, the result will be misleading, and therefore we have to select the specific type of mean for a specific type of problems depending on the requirement of data. And in this series of alternate means, we will be studying weighted average means, we will be studying about harmonic mean, and we will be studying about geometric means. Before moving to the geometric means and harmonic means, let us have a clarity about weighted average means. So, why we need weighted average mean? Because arithmetic mean usually is what? It is nothing but when you take summation x and divide it by n, and this will give me the value of mean. But remember one thing, when I calculate the arithmetic mean, all the values which are placed here are given equal weights. For example, if I am taking the mean of 2, 3, 4 and 5, these number, all these 4 number will be having equal weight, which is like 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, and simply that is why what I am doing, I am just adding the number and dividing it by 4. We aren't multiplying the number with weight. This is okay when we simply need to add the values and divide it by n to get my arithmetic mean. But when I have the problem, like when the weight of all the numbers are not equal, some carry higher weight, other carries lower weight. In that case, I need to apply other mean, and weighted mean comes into picture from here. So, what weighted average mean do? Weighted average mean assign specific level of importance to individual values, reflecting their true influence on the result. So, for example, if I have spent it on advertisement, and the money which I have spent it on advertisement is actually resulting into increase in sales, but then I have to recover that advertisement expenditure over a period of time from the revenue. So, what I can do, because from the advertisement I will be getting more benefit in the nearer years, and the benefit will reduce gradually. Then what I am supposed to do? I have to charge higher advertisement expenditure to the current revenue or near year revenue than charging it to the far years revenue. This problem can be sorted out by assigning the weight, more weight to the near years and lesser weight to the farther year. So, if we have the problem which is similar to this, then we will be using weighted average mean. So, let us begin and find out how we calculate it, where to use weighted means. Okay, let us begin. So, we have two type of data, ungrouped data, where we are simply having the numbers or values, and other set of data is like when we form the group of the data by assigning frequencies. The repeated values are taken as frequencies and assigned to the number or a range depending on whether you are having the discrete variable or a continuous variable, right. So, ungrouped data is the raw data or individual observation or the values that are standing alone. Every value is processed separately and exact calculations possible, but this is relevant for the smaller data set. For example, if I have to find out the mean of 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, So, this kind of data is actually ungrouped one. But when I move to the group data is when I am assigning the frequency to each number which is being repeated in my data. For example, if in my data 7 is repeated 5 times, so what I will do, I will assign the frequency of 5 to the 7, right. So, and sometimes when I am dealing with the continuous data, I cannot get the exact value for which I can gain the frequency. There I create a range. Suppose I am measuring your marks, then students are getting the marks like 59.6, 33.4 for example, then it will become very difficult to have all the values and then assigning them the frequency. So, what I am doing, I am actually creating the range of marks like 0 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, so and so forth, and then assigning the frequencies to all the ranges. This is called group data, and we are treating the calculations of the central tendency or a variability according to the nature of data, right, whether it is grouped, and if it is grouped, then whether it is discrete or continuous, and if it is ungrouped, then I am handling it in different way. So, ungrouped data have a easier calculations. When we move towards the group data, then we will be needing certain formulas to calculate the value of central tendency, or even if we are calculating the values for dispersion. So, moving ahead, if I am handling the ungrouped data and I want you to practice this, what is there on your screen. So, this is the temperature for 5 days, and it is like 30 degree, 32 degree, 35 degree, 33 degree and 30 degree. Okay. So, what you have to do, first of all you need to add these values, right. The second thing is, once you get the total of this value, you can represent it as summation x. If you take all these values as x, so summation x is nothing but the total of this. In this case, I can say the total is 3, 8, 10, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16. So, my summation x is nothing but total of these values. So, in this case it is 160, right. Then I want to find out the mean. What I am going to do, I simply need to divide summation x by n. In this case, it is 160 by 5 because number of observation is 5, and my mean will be 5 3 is 15, 1 5 2 is 10, 32 degree. So, my mean temperature is 32 degree. Okay. So, calculating the arithmetic mean is not a problem, but and it is very simpler for individual series. But if I am calculating the mean of group data, then how I can do it? Then I need to consider frequency also. Then we need to bring frequency in picture. So, suppose x has the value 1, 5, 2, 13 and 3, 4, which means that 1 appeared 5 times, 2 appeared 13 times and 3 appeared 4 times in my data. And what is this? It is a score of 22 students which I have taken, right. Then what I am going to do, once I obtain the frequency, I can multiply the frequency with the value to get the value of frequency into x. So, once I get this product, 1 into 5 is equal to 5, 2 into 13 is equal to 26 and 3 into 4 is equal to 12. I will get these values, correct. Once I get these values, then what I am going to do, I need to find out the summation of f into x, the product of f with x, and here the summation is 43. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide it by n, and here my n is actually the total of frequency, which is 22. Okay, let us do it. So my mean is equal to, this is mean, is equal to summation fx, which is 43 here, divided by 22, and I'll get 1.95 as my output. And this 1.95 means that on an average the value of marks is 1.95 for each student. Now just focus on one thing. When I'm trying to find out the total and then I'm dividing it with frequency, I'm still assigning equal weight to all the values that are there in my data. But again, it is okay when I'm dealing with the simple calculations. But if suppose I have to assign different weight to each of these number, then this problem will not be solved by simple arithmetic mean. Rather, I have to go for weighted average mean, right? So let us try the problem which is directly related to weighted average to have the better clarity of this weighted average mean. These are the grades of the students and the weight which can be assigned depending on the importance of the subject. So weight or credits are like for grade 82, 3, 86, 5, 93, 71. So in all, total credits are 12. So if I assign 3 credit to 82, 5 credit to 86, 3 credit to 90 and 1 credit to 70, then how I'm going to handle it. So my total weight is 12, total weight is 12. So if I want to find out the weight of this, then how I'm going to do it, 82 into 3 by 12. One way is this, where I can get the direct value, and then in this I can say 86 into 5 by 12, or simply I can find out the weight and then I can multiply the values with the weight. Okay. So one way is to find out the weight of all of these grade and then multiply the value with weight. And another way is I simply need to have the product of weight with grade, and which is like 3 into 82, 86 into 5, 9 into 3 and 7 into 1. So these are my answer, or the product of weight with grades. And when I add up these graded weight, then my summation is 1016, which is nothing but the total of product of weight into grade. So once I have this total value for this weighted grade, then I just need to divide it by 12, which is my n, or total frequency. So the mean is, or weighted average mean is nothing but what? Summation Wx upon f, which can be solved as 1016 divided by 12 in this case, right? And my final answer will be 84.67. So my weighted average mean is 84.67. Now just have a look, and can I do it in a different way? Yes, in that case I need to assign the weight to this value, and it is like 3 by 12 is how much? 0.25. 5 by 12 is how much? 5 by 12. Then I need to have the value of this. So what I can do, then the total of the weight will be 1 rather than 12. And then if I multiply this weight with this 82, then I need not to find the product. The value which I'll calculate this way is directly comes to my 84.67. I don't need to divide this sum of the sum of the product of grades and weight by 12. I will get directly the answer, which is 84.67. So, this is another way, but actually then my weights will go into fractions or decimals. So, here this method is more suitable, where I am multiplying the x values of x or grades with their weights and then getting the total of this product and then dividing it by total frequency or n to get my final answer, which is 84.67 in this case. So, hope you have some clarity. Now, to have the more clarity, let us come to the second example. So, these are the daily wage workers, and it has 20 males who are earning 40 per day, 15 females earning 32 per day, and 15 children earning 15 per day. So, since male carry higher weight followed by females and thereafter by child, so I have to multiply their wages with their count. If I would take like 50 direct as a count and then add up their wages and divide the wages by a count, then this will give the misleading result or faulty result. So, to assign the exact weight or to assign the importance to the values with a higher weight, I need to find the product of weight into value. So, in this case I have 20 male. So, 20 out of 50, which is like 20% are male, and this is like out of 50 is 40, right. So, weight can be 20 by 50 is like 40% of the weight is here. So, this is 40% of 0.40, this is 15, or you can say 30%, and this is 15 is again 30%. So, 60% of the weight is between children's and female and 40% with a male. So, if I directly multiply it with this, so I will get the answers as 0.4 into 20 is 20 into 0.4 plus 15 into 0.3 plus 30 into, sorry, 15, yeah, not this one, actually I have to do it, sorry, I have to take the values, right, wages, rather than taking the count, because I have already used the count to get the weights. So, the solution will be, please focus, it is 40 into 0.4. So, I can take it like 0.4 into 40, this, plus 0.30 into 32 plus 0.30 into 15, and then I need to find out the total of it. I will get the direct answer. So, it is 4 4 just 16. So, my answer is 16 plus 3 into 32, 3 2 just 6, 3 3 just 9, answer is 9.6, and then 3 15 3 is 45, answer is 4.5. Then I simply need to add it up, which means out of 40 I am taking 16 depending on the weight, out of 32 I am taking 9.6 depending on the weight, which is 30% of 32, and then 30% out of 15, which is the wage for children, and my answer will be, uh, you just need to add it up, 16 9 is 25, 29, and then 30.1. Answer is 30.1 rupee. So, what I can conclude, that average wage for this group collectively is 30.1. So, average wage rate is 30.1, right. Alternatively, if I wouldn't have done it like this, then the simpler method or the simpler way is like I'll find the product of count into wage. So, this into this is equal to this into this is equal to this, and this into this is equal to this. When I get the product of weight with x, then I need to total it and I'll get the total of 1505. Then you need to divide it by f, which I hadn't done in the previous I haven't done in a previous example where I find out the weight directly, because I'll directly come to the final answer. But in this case, I have taken the product. I haven't reduced the weight to 1 to that totals to 1, or I haven't reduced the weight to decimal, and therefore, I need to divide it by n, and in this case the n is 50, right, total count. So, how I can find out the result? So, it is like 1505 divided by 15. So, this is the alternate way, and this 2 will give you the same answer, which is 30.10 as shown here, correct. So, hoping that you have a better understanding of the concept of weighted mean, I proceed ahead. So, why choose one over other? Why we need weighted mean rather than arithmetic mean? Because again the same thing, I don't want to assign same weight to all the values, rather we want to focus more on some values and focus less on other values. And this type of calculations are required when we are handling with the estimation of GPA, salary analysis or portfolio return, right. So, moving ahead, advanced calculation techniques, obviously when the numbers are very large, so we have to take the assumed mean as we have done in the case of arithmetic mean, and then have to find the deviation from assumed mean and doing all the calculation of a plus f into fd, and therefore dividing it by the total frequency to get the value, which is called step deviation method, and the formula is given here, which is where a is assumed mean and this is frequency with the midpoint of the class, because h is nothing but it is the midpoint, right. So, if my range is say 20 to 30, then what I can do to take the midpoint, 20 plus 30 divided by 2, which will give me the value of 25. So, this u is 25, and then I have to multiply it with frequency, this midpoint, to get the value of FUs, and then I am totaling it to get the value, to get the summation of FU, and it will be divided by F. Then I will add back the assumed mean to the output and then multiply it with H. I mean, before I will multiply it with H and then add to the actual assumed mean, right, to get the final and actual answer, right. So, this is other way, and especially we are doing it when we are doing it manually, we are not using the computer, we are not using the calculator, and the values are large. So, I reduce the size of the value for the ease of calculations, and then converting it back to the actual mean by multiplying the output with h, which is my class interval or class width, and then adding back it to a, which is my assumed mean. Okay. So, this is one of the way. So, what is the key takeaway for today's lecture? What you learned today? So, your key learning is, first of all, you need to classify your data into grouped and ungrouped calculation, and then accordingly you have to do the calculation. The calculation for ungrouped data is easier than, and if I am dealing with the group data, then I need to uh, do certain modification, or I have to do the, I have to use the formula. For example, what kind of modification? I have to find out the mid value, and then if I am taking then I have to divide it by frequency, or if I have reduced the number, then I have to multiply back the reduced value to the number to get the final answer. So, that can be done using the formula. You just need to place the correct value as in the at the correct places in the formula, and you will drive out the actual output. You will get the actual output or desirable output. So you need to identify your data, and then you need to, if all marks are not carrying equal weight, then you have to assign the weight to each value, and you have to assign higher weight to the value which carries more importance and lower weight to the values which carries less important, and this will give you a weighted average mean which will be considering more of value. And one example I would like to discuss before I wind up. You have experienced about Sensex Nifty. It is rising sometime, falling sometime. So, do you ever try to think what are the factors that are affecting the values of these indices, or are all the companies affecting the indices, say Sensex or Nifty 50? Not exactly. In Nifty 50, which is the major index, I am not talking about other index where there is Nifty 500 also, Nifty Next 100 also. So, ignoring that, I am straight away talking about the Nifty 50, which is a composite index for 50 companies. Those 50 companies which are the part of Nifty are not carrying equal weights. We have assigned higher weight to some companies and lower weight to some companies. So, companies like Adani, Ambani, Reliance Industries, Adani's Enterprises, or Tata Group companies and SDFC Bank are carrying higher weight. So, when there will be a change in their prices, indices will be changing more. But there are the companies which are carrying very low weight and which are not affecting the total indices index value much. If there is a change in such companies which are carrying lesser weight in the index, there will not be a much change in the index value, or there will not be a much change in Nifty or Sensex value. Okay. So, you need to choose the right method at the right place to get the right output. You need to be very careful. So, coming to the conclusion, you need, when you want to, if you want to use the data to turn to the conclusion, then you have to choose the right method. There is arithmetic mean, equal weight summaries, weighted mean, differential importance to each unit or each value. Group means when I classified the values in the range and thereafter doing all the calculation, and then there are advanced method to make my task simpler, right. So, that is what we learned, and that is what that is what we learned today, and that is what our key learning is for today. Remember one thing, averages are misleading if not chosen properly, or if it is applied on the wrong data. So, you have to choose your method according to the need of data, then only you will able to get benefited from this statistical output, which will be helpful for you in your decision making, and you can take a very good business decisions. Okay. So, see you in the next class, where we will be discussing about other aspects, especially we will be moving towards the median. Thank you for today. See you in the next class.